This presentation was shared at the recent District Advisory Committee meetings. This information will provide insight on past budgets and the timelines for developing the draft budget for the years 2014 and 2015, and what opportunities we will have for community input. In the Winnipeg School Division, over 80% of the dollars that are invested in the schools are specifically spent in schools for staff. 19% are for support services. These expenditures include the maintaining, heating, and cleaning of buildings, which are indirect supports to what is happening in the school. These services also include transportation and central services. When the board developed the budget for the current school year, they wanted to make sure there was money in the budget to keep the programs and services that were there last year. They also looked at providing enough money to maintain the buildings, as well as equipment in the schools, such as computer systems. The board also looked at ways to recover some of the costs. There was a slight decrease in enrollment, therefore there was a slight decrease in the staff required. There was a reduction in administrative costs, and last but not least, the board looked at ways to save money or be more efficient. Those savings can be used in the classroom. The budget for the Winnipeg School Division is $365 million. The budget is divided among instructional services at 80% and the remaining 20% for expenditures. School divisions in Manitoba have to report expenditures to the province of Manitoba, and that information can be found on the division's or the province's website. Where does the money come from? 63% of the revenue comes from the province of Manitoba. 35% comes from local property taxation. If the province does not provide the money required for expenditures, the division must look at other sources of revenue, and that is property taxation. The small portion, or 2% of revenue you see on the chart, are fees the division charges from students who come from outside the division. These fees come from other school divisions or private organizations. This chart shows the funding from the province. You can see that it has increased every year between 4 to 8 million until 2012 and 2013, where the division did not receive any extra funding. It was those years that the enrollment increased by 800 students. With expenditures increasing and revenues staying flat, the board needed to explore an education property tax increase to balance the budget. Without a tax increase, the board would have had to look at cutting expenditures by reducing programs and services in the division. As a result, the board decided to increase taxes. For the current school year, 2013 and 2014, you can see revenue from the province increased by $1 million for a total of $175 million, a slight increase but still very helpful. The board has and will continue to consult with parents and the public. Last year there was a parent forum held at Techbach High School where we had discussions about programs and services for students, importance of property taxation, and the importance of funding from the province. This year we have held District Advisory Committee meetings and will soon be hosting a pre-budget open house on Monday, November 25th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. At the end of January, the Minister of Education will announce the level of funding for the next school year. At that time, the board will develop the draft budget for the school division. The draft budget will reflect feedback the board received and indicate what the board can do for supporting programs and services while at the same time being mindful of the level of funding from the province. At that time, the board will be able to talk about what could happen with property taxation. In February, as in past years, there will be a District Advisory Committee meeting where there will be discussions on budget. Also, there will be a public open house which offers the public an opportunity to share their written or online feedback. The board has to finalize the budget by March 15 every year. Please take a moment to reflect on the information you see on your screen now. Information can be shared by mailing your comments to the 2014-2015 Budget Feedback, Board Office, Winnipeg School Division, 1577 Wall Street East, Winnipeg, Manitoba, R3E 2S5.